Welcome to Martha Runs the World, a podcast with a new take on running, fitness, and all things health-oriented. I'm Martha Hughes, your host, and each week I present a new topic that is of interest to all runners. Hi, and welcome to episode 322 of Martha Runs the World. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I truly appreciate it, as I do each and every week. If you've spent any time outside, you've heard the term leave no trace. So this week I'm going to talk about leave no trace and how it relates to running. And I know it relates to the wilderness and our parks and our outside, but I'm also going to have it relate to not just trail running, but also road running, because there are some things that we can do to help our environment and help our road running, trail running, and races be a little bit kinder to our environment and how we can make things better. The term leave no trace, it means leave only footprints, take only pictures, as the saying goes, and leaving the environment, the wilderness, the way you see it. So you don't want to leave any litter or things like that. Now, most runners, I would say most runners have great reputations and are very thoughtful as far as that goes. A few have a bad reputation and make the rest of us look bad, I think. I must admit that in the past, I wasn't as thoughtful as I could have been during some long trail runs. Now, we've all heard the humorous stories about having to take a quick exit into the trees because of digestion problems. Yeah, I've done that. And we've all heard about the one runner who had to leave one sock behind. Yeah. Now, those are stories in the past, and it isn't quite as funny as it used to be because we're all trying to make things better and to be better stewards of the wilderness. I believe we are anyway. In 2025, I think it's about time that we all plan ahead and take a little bit more time to take better care of the places we run. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. And it isn't just the trails, as I said. It can apply to races on roads as well. And I'm going to start with trail running, and I'm going to talk about the 7 leave no trace rules. They were designed by those who take care of our parks and wildlands. They are not specific for trail running, of course, and some of them don't apply at all to trail running. They apply to hiking and camping and just all the use of our parks and our wildlands. There are 7 leave no trace rules. Plan ahead and prepare. Know the regulations and special concerns for the area you'll visit. Prepare for extreme weather, hazards, and emergencies. And see, that can apply to trail running. Know what the weather's going to be like when you go out. Know about the hazards in the area if you need to cross rivers or streams. Know if part of the trail is not in use. Know if you're going to have to turn around, or if there are emergencies, be prepared for that as well. Schedule your trip to avoid times of high use. And trail runners usually go out early. If you go out at midday, you're going to find that you will share, a lot of times, at least in my area that I live, you're going to share the trail with mountain bikers because they don't go out early. They really don't. They go out around 10 or 11 a.m. So I like to go out earlier than them. That way I don't have to be almost run over by them. Sometimes it gets a little dangerous out there. Visit in small groups when possible. Consider splitting larger groups into smaller groups, and that's not usually a problem for trail running unless there's a race and then you can't be helped. Repackage food to minimize waste, and that's a really good thing. That's not a really concern with trail runners again, but I guess if you're going out, if you're fast packing and you want to shave weight off your pack, that's also something that you're going to do. Use a map and compass or GPS to eliminate the use of marking paint, rock, cairns, and or flagging. Well, obviously in a race, you're going to flag and you're going to mark courses, but those are always picked up Nothing is left over after a race, unless, of course, it's a Spartan race and they leave things over. And that's another reason why I don't do Spartan races. They're not very good about picking up after themselves. Sorry, but they're not. They're not very good about that. And that North Face race is another one that they're not very good about picking up after themselves. I wish they were better about it, but unfortunately it's true. The course clearers that come out afterwards have to do a better job of picking up their flags, because I've gone on those races the day after they've had the race, and they're not really that thorough about cleaning up after their races. Not a good job. Travel and camp on durable surfaces. Durable surfaces include maintained trails, designated campsites, rock, gravel, sand, dry grasses, or snow. Prepare to camp at least 200 feet from lakes and streams. Good campsites are found, not made. Altering a site is not necessary. In popular areas, concentrate use on existing trails and campsites. Walk single file in the middle of the trail, even when wet or muddy. That's not a problem for us trail runners. We like stomping through mud. I mean, I do anyway. It's kind of fun. Keep campsites small. Focus activity in areas where vegetation is absent. In pristine areas, disperse use to prevent the creation of campsites and trails. Avoid places where impacts are just beginning. So don't do any bushwhacking if at all possible. Unless you're lost or something, I don't see the need for it. I mean, we're not doing the Barkley Marathons out here, are we? Unless you are in the Barkley Marathons, and then all of this is just put aside. Dispose of waste properly. Now, this is of special interest to us trail runners, and this is what we really need to do in the future. Pack it in, pack it out. Inspect your campsite, food preparation areas, and rest areas for trash or spilled foods. Pack out all trash, leftover food, and litter. Utilize toilet facilities whenever possible. Otherwise, deposit solid human waste in cat holes dug 6 to 8 inches deep, or at least 200 feet from water, camp and trails. Cover and disguise the cat hole when finished. You don't have to take one of those little backpacking shovels with you. If you can find rocks to dig a hole, that's great. But dig some kind of a hole with you and cover up the hole when you're done. But the next part is pack out toilet paper and hygiene products. So I would say take a Ziploc bag with you to pack out this stuff with you. Don't leave that in the wild. Don't leave a sock in the wild. Be prepared for this if you think you're going to have to use it. If you don't get your bathroom done before you leave and you know it might be a problem, prepare for it before you go out on your trail run. If there's no facility there at the trailhead and you think you're going to have a problem, prepare. And if you need to wash or do anything, do it 200 feet away from streams or lakes, because you don't want that stuff getting into the water. And that's really a big thing. That's always been a big thing. So just be aware of that. Leave what you find. Preserve the past. Photograph, examine, but do not touch cultural or historic structures and artifacts. Leave rocks, plants, or other natural objects as you find them. Avoid introducing or transporting non-native species. Do not build structures, furniture, or dig trenches. And this is where I have a big problem with the whole bushcraft thing, that they just destroy everything to make their own little videos of bushcraft. Oh, well, that's great, but you just took down a whole bunch of trees over here, and you just moved a whole bunch of rocks, and you just annihilated this whole area just so you can make a video of bushcraft. Oh, no. I particularly don't like that at all. And don't make cairns unless it's something that has to be done, unless there's a lot of confusion over a trail and people are getting lost. I would say don't make one just because you think it's pretty. Cairns serve a purpose. And if you don't know what a cairn is, it's a pile of rocks on top of each other, and usually made so that one can find their way on a trail. They're not made just for the art just for the purpose of being beautiful. They take away the rocks from the natural area and from the natural surface of the ground. Now, the next one is campfires, which you really don't have to worry about, but just because I'm giving you the 7 leave no trace rules, I'm going to tell you this one. Minimize campfire impacts. Campfires can cause lasting impacts to the environment. Use a lightweight stove for cooking and enjoy a candle lantern for light. Where fires are permitted, use established fire rings, fire pans, or mound fires. Keep fires small. Only use down and dead wood from the ground that can be broken by hand. Burn all wood and coals to ash. Put out campfires completely, then scatter cool ashes. This is a big one. Respect wildlife. Observe wildlife from a distance. Do not follow or approach them. Have you ever seen those videos of the really stupid tourists in Yellowstone getting too close to a bison? Yeah, don't be those people. Don't be anything like them. They are just so dumb. Seriously. Never feed wild animals. It's just so wrong in so many ways. Feeding wildlife damages their health, alters natural behaviors. It habituates them to humans. It exposes them to predators and other dangers. Protect wildlife and your food by storing rations and trash securely. Control pets at all times. If you run with a dog, please keep them on a leash or leave them at home. And this is just really, sure, I know you train your dog. I know your dog is the best dog in the world. Everybody's dog is the best dog in the world. But I have gone on trails where they said their dog is controlled, but it wasn't. And it can be a scary situation, especially if you've been bit by a dog before. It can be very frightening for runners if we don't know your dog and we don't know how friendly your dog is. And many runners just don't like dogs because they've had bad experiences in the past. I love dogs, but if I don't know your dog, I don't know what your dog is like. So I don't want to come across an unfriendly animal because they're not trained properly. And keep the leash short or shorter. Don't have a 30-foot leash on your dog. And why is it that the smaller the dog, the longer the leash? I swear to gosh. If you have like a 6-7 pound dog, that dog has a 30-foot leash. So true. It's so true. So keep the leash a little shorter, please, for the rest of the people on the trail. Because, there are other people on the trail. You know that, right? Avoid wildlife during sensitive times, especially in mating, nesting, raising young, or winter. And be considerate of other visitors. Respect other visitors and protect the quality of their experience. Be courteous. Yield to other users on the trail. Step to the downhill side of the trail when encountering pack, stock, or horses. And this is really important. Horses always have the right of way. Horses can be skittish, and especially if you have a dog, they can be very skittish around small animals, or smaller animals, I should say, because most animals are smaller than horses. And they really need the right of way. So you ever see those triangle signs, and you really have to pay attention to them. I know that mountain bikers don't like to pay attention to those signs. They think they always have the right of way. And sure, if a mountain biker is going downhill, I usually give them the right of way just because it makes more sense. And I'm not going to be a pushy hiker or runner saying that I have the right of way, whereas I actually do have the right of way. I'm not going to push it, but yeah, it's horses, hikers, and then bikers in that order. But like I said, mountain bikers will usually take the right of way because that's how they are. Sorry. I know if you're a biker, prove me wrong. Okay. But many places, bikers are getting better about it, and I can't say that all the time now. They're getting more courteous. It used to be a lot worse. But just remember that horses really, really do need to have the right of way because they are carrying a human being, and we don't want to have anything happen to that horse or the person riding them, or you, if you're near a horse. Take breaks and camps away from the trails and other visitors. Let nature's sound prevail. So don't play music if you're on a trail. Or if you are going to play music, only play it only have one headphone in one ear, or have it turned down really low so you can hear everything else. I've run into many situations where runners or hikers will play music really loud and they won't hear anything else. And it can be a dangerous situation, so don't be that person. Avoid loud voices and noises. Don't shout with your friends on the trail. You want to talk to them, that's fine, but the last thing I want to hear is when I'm trail running or hiking is a group of people shouting and laughing aloud and being really loud. And that's fine. You're having a great time, but be considerate of other people. I don't want to be around you if you're super loud. You can do that in the city, but just keep it down a little bit. You don't have to be so loud. And please, if you're around other people, don't use those personal speakers that you attach to your body. And if you are going to use them, as soon as you see people, turn it off. We don't want to hear your music. Usually it's music I don't want to hear ever, anywhere. I don't ever hear anyone playing Iron Maiden or Blue Oyster Cult. So unless you're going to play really good music, just turn it off completely. I don't know. They never play music that I like. So anyway, even if they would, I would still want them to turn it off because on a trail is not where I want to hear it. These principles were established by the Leave No Trace Center for Outdoor Ethics and built on work by the U.S. Forest Service, National Park Service, and Bureau of Land Management in the 1980s. And it still remains true today. These are really good rules to live by when you're on the trail. A lot of them, like I said, don't apply to trail running or hiking on the trails, but a lot of them do. And I know many people who hike or trail run do camp and do other things on the trail and enjoy the wilderness. So I thought this would be a nice thing to share with you. And I'll have a link to the Leave No Trace rules on the website, martharunsaworld.com. And I do now, as far as trail races go, I really like the no-cut policy. And I know not all trail races have that, but more and more are beginning to include that with their races. There's no reason for races to supply paper cups these days to the runners. Every trail runner should take either a bottle with them and a little cup with them if they want. Little, plastic cup. But every trail runner should have hydration bottles with them. There's no reason that they shouldn't have them. If you're doing a trail race that's longer than 3 miles, even in the 3-mile race, you should have one bottle with you, because you never know if you're going to get lost or you're going to get injured, and you might have to wait a while to get rescued or get back on the course again. So you don't know what's going to happen. So you want to be prepared. So always have a bottle with you. Don't go out on a trail race, even if it's only a 5K, without anything. I don't understand that. So always have at least one bottle with you. And that will keep you safe, and then you'll be able to get the water or the hydration mix at the next aid station. Now, in road running, it's a little bit different in that I think on your training runs, you're pretty careful about things. You're not going to throw stuff on the ground or litter. But in road races, there's sometimes a tendency to litter during the race because you think that, someone's just going to pick it up. Not all runners do that, of course, but it's only a small minority, I believe. But the first thing I want to address in road races is that there's no reason to use plastic garbage bags when it rains. I see less and less of that now, so that's good. But I still see some people putting the holes for the arms in plastic garbage bags, and then when the rain starts, they take them off and they throw them aside. Well, the garbage bag is useless because there's holes in it, but there's really no need to use those anymore. You can go to a used clothing store and buy a cheap rain jacket Or you can use an old rain jacket, save it from, I don't know, save an old ragged one that you had for years, and then at the start of the race, just take it off and fling it to the side. And the clothing left in the bigger race is donated, so it doesn't go to any waste. So I would say instead of using a garbage bag, which will be very wasteful, and it uses up a lot of wasteful products, just go to used clothes store, go to Goodwill or wherever you can and buy a rain jacket for $5, and use that instead. If you don't have one at home that you don't mind throwing aside. Now, around hydration stations, I understand that they still use plastic cups. And I do understand that when you get a plastic cup of water or hydration mix, usually they have Gatorade now. They don't really have anything else. I understand that when you get done, you toss the used cup towards the garbage can and miss, and you don't want to go back and pick it up. I get that. I won't do that. I will always go back and pick it up if I miss. That's me. But I understand if you don't. There are people around the hydration stations, they'll clean it up. So I get that. That I don't have a problem with that so much. But I do have a problem with people during a race tossing garbage along the course anywhere that is not a hydration station. Why do runners do this? I don't get that, because it's not like they're going to have people right there cleaning it up. And a lot of courses, it's windy, so that trash is going to be picked up and scattered all throughout the course. So they may not be able to pick them up. I remember doing one race. I've forgotten what race it was. It was years ago, but doing a race that goes over the Golden Gate Bridge. And I saw little packs of goo and stuff on the bridge itself. And it's so windy on that bridge that one gust of wind and those goo packs are going to go right into the Pacific Ocean. This is just so bad. It's really a bad look and it's really very, very thoughtless of the runners to do that. What would it take for you to hold it if you don't have a waist pack or handheld bottle that has a little pocket on it? What would it take for you to just hold it in your hand till you get off the bridge to a garbage can that you can just put it in? It wouldn't take much at all, would it? No, it really wouldn't. So just don't throw things aside on the ground if you're not near a hydration station. Just hold it until you find the next garbage can. It's not going to take you much. It won't take any time out of your run. It won't do anything except maybe keep the course a little cleaner. I mean, it really is common sense, isn't it? It's trying to make our running courses better, trying to make the wilderness better, and trying to make runners more aware of their environment and the world around us, because we are stewards of our world and we should want to keep it looking as nice as we can, shouldn't we? All right. This week was a big work week for me, so I didn't get as much running in as I would have liked. Got some walking in. I was able to return the Timp 5s to REI I really hated those shoes. Those shoes were awful. I think those shoes were the worst shoes I've ever worn. And I just, very disappointing. I said I wasn't going to talk about them, so I'm not really talking about them, but I returned them and I went and tried on the Topo MTN, I guess Mountain Racer 3s. And those seemed really nice. Now there's a 5mm drop from the heel to the toe. So I'm hoping that's not a big deal. I haven't had any drop at all for a long time, so I'm hoping that's not a big deal. I'm going to try them out. I'm going to go pick them up today, and I'm going to try them out this week and see how they feel. And hopefully they'll be fine. I have never worn Topos before, so this will be my first experience, and I'll talk about it next week. I'm just really hoping that these work well. I don't want to have to return these and go through a whole lot of different shoes to find something that I actually like. I just don't, it's a pain. It really is. It's a pain in the neck, but I will try them out. And I still have a pair of the old Timps, the Timp 4s, and I don't know how many more miles they have on them. I know they're a bit worn, but if it all fails, I can just use those for a few more weeks. And we'll see. We'll keep going with them. But I've got a couple I've got a run tomorrow, and then runs over the weekend, and then a bunch of walks that I'm doing. So we'll see. We will do it, and I will continue getting a little bit farther and a little bit longer on my runs, and get more and more towards my running goals. And that is it for this week. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. The Facebook page for Martha Runs the World is back, and I'll have a link for that on the website. I still have not restarted the group on Facebook. When I do, I will post a link on that. The website is martharunstheworld.com, and my email address is martharunstheworld@gmail.com. And thank you so much for joining me this week. And until next week, let's tie up our shoelaces and go for a run.